Hey guys, good morning. Are you still with me? Unexpected. I've got you on my steering wheel and I dropped you. Hopefully you're okay. My phone is okay. So today is the day of the 1-year anniversary of my grandfather passing away. He died a year ago today. At 95. I've talked about him before in the group, not recently, but he's obviously big time on my mind right now. And I just talked with my mom about him, and I miss him a lot. I still take a lot of inspiration from him and the stories about his life growing up, the horrible start he had, and the man he became. And I wanted to share some of those stories with you today because I find it very inspirational. So if you're hopping on, you can let me know where you are coming from. You can tell me who you are, how your Sunday is going. It's cold there. And if you're watching this later, you can type #replay. So my grandfather had a really terrible childhood, like beyond terrible. So he was from Poland. He came across in a boat with his parents and when he was a little kid, his brother, 2 brothers and a sister. And his mother was amazing. Like, she was just a lovely person. His father was a terrible person. His mother died when my grandfather was 10. So he lost that loving, caring person for him. He lost it when he was only 10. His father was abusive. He was verbally and physically abusive to the kids. At age 15, my grandfather basically became homeless. Like, he still had a place to go occasionally, but it wasn't a good one. So he was out on the streets a lot of the time. And then when the war came, he decided that it would be better to take the risk of dying in the war than it was to stay in his household. So he quit high school. So just an aside with this, even with his terrible upbringing, he had amazing marks in school. He finished grade 9. I don't think he got partway through grade 10. That was it. Then he dropped out of school. But he had incredible marks. His dream was always to be a doctor. He never fulfilled that dream. He had no support, like no support. They also had no money. They were quite poor, so there's no way that they would have had money for him to go to university or college. And so he ran away. He was so young to join the war that he had to get fake papers. So he got fake papers, went and joined the war, came back, turned his life around. So as part of this story, he has the two brothers and 1 sister. One of his brothers ended up in jail. So my great uncle was in jail. He became a thief and got caught. So obviously there's a lot more of a story there, but my grandfather could have gone down that road, like easily. He had, they're poor, abusive, like, again, terrible upbringing. He had no good role models after his mom died. And when he came back from the war, I don't even know how he did this. He turned his life around. He started a business. He met my grandmother. They had 2 kids, my mom and my aunt, and he grew his business. This guy with a grade 9 education grew this business that had dozens and dozens of employees. Like, I don't even know how he did this. No support, people telling him he was worthless growing up, that he would never amount to anything. And he did. He ended up employing all these people, providing for other families. He was such a kind person. Never abusive to my mom and my aunt. He broke that cycle of violence, like, fully. There was never boundaries there. I don't know, again, I don't know how he did it. This was not in the days of, like, going to counseling or figuring this out, like he had none of that. He just did it. He knew he did not want that for his family. He was so caring. So now I'm going to bring my mom into it. So my mom was really smart. She's still smart. She was told to skip 2 grades in school because she just was doing so well, and that was more common back in that day. They didn't have classes for enrichment or gifted or whatever, like that kind of thing. So they skipped her 2 grades. So she graduated high school when she was 16. So that all sounds like, oh wow, amazing and everything. Okay, but that's really young. And developmentally, emotionally, she's still super young. There's a reason why a lot of people don't skip grades. It's not necessarily good for them. So I can't even believe this. So when she was 11, I think, so she was in grade 6, she got called down to the principal's office, and she went to an all-girls Catholic grade school and then high school. So the principal was a nun. So the nun called her down, nun principal called her down to the office, sat her down, and said, "You are not going to amount to anything. Your grades are so bad, you will basically flunk out of high school." So my mom, a little girl, she was absolutely devastated. She was devastated. So she just burst into tears. She ran all the way home. She told my grandfather, in between sobs, and he was so pissed. So he went in and, talked to the nun and got really angry, and spoke up and stood up for my mom. And, the nun treated her well, from that point on. But the damage had been done, right? Have any of you experienced that when you were younger? Have you had anyone in your life told you that you are not going to amount to anything, or that you're not smart enough? It's so easy to internalize these things. So my mom, did go to high school. She still struggled. She never failed or anything like that, but was she an A student, B+ student? No, because she was skipping 2 grades. So she at times struggled with things and didn't have, people at home, her parents, neither one of them finished high school. So they were not going to be able to help her with homework or anything like that. So she carried that with her. She carried 2 things with her from that. One, she will always remember the support of her father. She, one person in her life that stood up for her right in the moment, had her back. She said she will never forget that. It's something she carries with her that's just so cherished, and it's an amazing feeling. And the other thing that she carries is not so positive, and that's the feeling of being worthless and not being able to amount to anything. Because in that pivotal time when you're a kid, if you hear that kind of thing, that's crushing. What does that do to you? So, as an adult, I've told my mom, you're really smart, or I'm grateful for you exposing me to all these big words growing up, it helped my vocabulary and everything. And she always brushes it off. She's oh, whatever, no. She can't, not that she can't even admit that she's smart, she doesn't feel like she is. She feels like somehow she's tricked the world into getting where she is. Or she imposter syndrome, 1,000%. Let me know, if you've ever felt imposter syndrome, drop it in the comments. Yes, if you can relate at all to my mom. Because she felt like she just pulled the wool over the eyes of everybody. Somehow she's managed to be successful in life in spite of her being stupid or inept. That's really what she felt. It's breaks my heart to say that. It's my mom, I care so much about her, and she, she's so capable. So she had, this traumatic experience where it just cut down on her self-esteem at a really, really pivotal time, right? Preteen years. You're so vulnerable anyways, even if people are being nice to you. And this is a person in power who belittled her and told her she would amount to nothing. In high school, wasn't much better. She had teachers tell her that she was not university material. She was not going to be successful in life. And so that's all awful. I'm not smiling at that, but I'm smiling at the next part. Is she remembers clearly one moment when she decided, there was a brain switch, and she decided, I am going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. So it was like a burning desire in her. I am going to go to university. I'm going. You know, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do it. I can do it. So she developed that strong belief in herself, even with these horrible people telling her otherwise. You know, these people in power. She had this little voice in her, this like teenage girl voice, that she still held stronger than these powerful people that were telling her that she was nothing and she was stupid. So she did go to university. She got her Bachelor of Arts in Education, and I can't even believe that this is what she did, but it's actually going to make me cry a little bit. She became a teacher. So after these horrible teacher experiences and this education experience that was so brutal to her, she became a teacher of grade school. So she's retired now, but she taught for many years and was a supportive, loving, caring teacher. So what she didn't have, she became. I wanted to share this story with you because to me, it's just like, it's heartbreaking, it's inspirational. I'm so proud of my family. I'm proud of my grandfather for breaking the cycle of violence, for, you know, starting a business when he had nothing. He was in poverty. You know, he stopped the cycle of poverty and violence, you know, from homeless with a brother that went to jail, you know, like being abused every day, to this life, this rich life as a caring father and husband. And then my mom, you know, being able to go from being told she was worthless to being a teacher and being able to build up her students at those really fragile years, you know, from kindergarten to grade 8, she's taught. I wrote a couple notes. I wanted to make sure that I got everything. I think I did. But yeah, if you've been told that you will amount to nothing, that your business idea is stupid, that you are not educated enough to do what you're pursuing, that you don't know enough, whether or not it's people in your life when you were young that told you this, whether it's, you know, your family members, your teachers, your parents, your spouse, not everybody has supportive community around them. Try to build that supportive community. And I know most of you have it, not all of you do, because some of you have written to me. I hope to be part of your supportive community here with this Facebook group. It's a wonderful, supportive women here. I'm very grateful for all of you and your energy. You can do great things. You know, you can do things that people have told you that you can't do. You know, that you're not smart enough to do, that you don't have the qualifications. Share what your passion is. You know, my grandfather did. You know, he broke that awful cycle. My mother did. You can do it. You know, I know you can do it. Like, I'm so passionate about this because I've seen it in my own family, and it changes the trajectory of not only your life, but the people that you're hiring, the people that you're teaching, your kids, everything. It impacts everybody that you touch around you and the generations to come. So I really, really reach out to you today and beseech you with this story, to please listen to those voices that are supportive and those whispers inside you of the things that you want to do, because you are bigger than the voices that have put you down in the past. You know, I really believe in you. I really believe in you. So again, if you're watching this later, please type #replay. Let me know if this video resonated with you at all. If I've touched on any sensitive spots too, let me know. If you need more support, you can reach out. But thank you for listening. This is a very personal story for me today to share, and I'm going to go back home and I'm going to hug my daughter. Okay, so take care, guys.